Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 2 of the Raceface.Pro iRacing M2 and Supercars Series here at the beautiful track of Mount Panorama, back home to our Gen 3 Supercars, and we're in for a huge race, that is for sure, as we do have qualifying underway for our drivers to go and start putting in their best lap times. Let's take a look at the points heading into the race. It's going to be a bit of a wild one, starting off with the likes of our Gen 3 Supercars that will be heading out onto the circuit, as we just waiting for our timing to pop back up. After it, we have currently got Ronda Toya on screen, who will be heading out for the Team Slowpokes Racing, out for the BMW M2 CSRs, and hoping to put in a big impact here tonight for some phenomenal racing. So, looking at our Gen 3 Supercar standings, Julian Familiaris is running in first place with 75 points. Ryan Ottens with 70 points running in second place. Big congratulations to Julian Familiaris on behalf of Raceface team, and also to like Franco Di Matteo, who have recently just brought in a brand spanking new Mustang to go racing here on our shores. Vernus Kuman will be running in third place with Jan Kroblo, Sergei Sarkov, Paul Herber, Ricky Pittman, Steven Kutzer, Luka Logovic, and Jean van Rensburg running a little bit further down the order. And on the screen at current is Julian Familiaris, trying to put in a phenomenal time. So far, running in first place with a 2:07.75, as he tries to make it a little bit stronger round the corners, absolutely giving it everything he's got to make an impact here tonight. Now, we got two separate classes for anyone that doesn't know. We have got our BMW M.2s that are racing, and also our Gen 3 Supercars, like what we have Julian Familiaris currently out on circuit, going and giving it everything he's got. Let's take a look at our championship for our BMW M.2s coming into round 2 here at Mount Panorama. Ron Brignick leading out the grid with Ron Detoy, Jaco van der going and running in third, Nico Killerman, Maurice Pitcher, Stephen Cakebread, Robbie Teens, Fabian Burrett, Fanny Krevenstein, Doug Herber, Etienne Swart, Noah Hendricks, Werner Swart, Jotan van Rensburg, Eugene Berryman, Yuppie Simons, and Mario Rez rounding out our pack for our championship results in the BMW M.2s. So, or the M2s, not M.2s, that's generally in the computers. So at the moment, Julian Familiaris, 2:07.79 to beat, and the likes of Jan Ferree, who's been putting in a huge amount of effort during practice, is down to a 2:08.9. Did get into the 2:07s, but he's going to be keeping a close eye on Luke Lucchesi, as these two have been doing a little bit of training together, working out how they're going to go. Also, other cars out on the circuit, leading out our BMW M.2s at current. Well, that is Fabian Berwitt, running with a 2:19.22. Now, they are considerably slower compared to our Gen 3 Supercars. They do count for a TCR X class, if I remember correctly, if you want to go and race them in overseas stuff. We've also got Chris Santos saying, let's go, out in the virtual grandstands, and JoTube coming in, and that's JoTech going and having a bit of fun. Big shout out to them as well, going and getting behind all the sim racers, ensuring that we can go racing. So, taking a look at our standings, though, Julian Familiaris is to beat. Robin Bricknick currently not going to improve his lap time too much, and gets himself into 11th ahead of Fabian Brewitt, who now needs to try and move forward. So Robin Bricknick leads out the charge for the BMWs, but there is quite some interesting liveries out there, and I think, is it Robbie Teens? No, it wasn't Robbie Teens. It was running an old school livery going back a few ages, and that was the Enviro BMW. Saw it out in practice earlier. I swear it was here. Ooh, missing nose for Wellington Tron at this moment. Willem Pienaar in the Castrol colours, trying to make his way through, keeping ahead of Doug Herber, who's so far done his personal best in Sector 1, 2, 3, 4, and not really in 5. So this is going to be a different run for him. Hopefully the Budweiser colours will be enough to get him towards the sharp end of the field. Ronda Toy a little bit further down, trying to improve his lap times as well for Team Slowpokes. Van Kersop of the Pandassi team in the Gen 3 Supercars, trying to move his way out from the back of the field. Etienne Swart trying to also get that little bit of a climb. Werner Skuman yet to put in a lap time and giving it everything he's got. Nico Killerman also trying out his drive, and Noah Hendricks has yet to settle the time. Jan Fourie, though, 1.1 second off Julian Familiaris, who managed to better his lap time with a 2:07.78 as they try and give it everything they got to really push their boundaries. Not quite sure if it's going to be enough, though, but it's definitely going to be a try for the teams to really move their way up through the order. Werner Skuman moving himself up into 5th place, now getting out into the battle. Remember, Julian Familiaris kept leading into the championship with Ryan Ottens hot on the heels in the chase for the top rung here at the Raceface.Pro. Gen 3 versus the likes of our BMW M2s. The Alpha 1 Esports car of Ryan Ottens, trying to give it everything he's got and really doing everything he can to move his way forward. Sergei Sarkov out on the track, battling it out and hoping to really stand on top of the charts at the moment. Running in 7th, not able to increase his times as yet so far. A bit down on the running order for himself. You'll have to keep a very close eye on that as time is running out. If you can't get the times in now, that's it, game over. Robbie Teens crossing the line in 21st position, trying to get one more lap in, but I think that is not going to be enough as they do come across the line, and qualifying is now successfully over for the likes of our round 2. We will be heading into the race, and let's take a look at who is starting where for our grid. So qualifying results is Julian Familiaris leading out the pack with Johan Fourie, Luc Lecchesi, Ryan Ottens running in 4th. Johan Krubler will be starting in 5th place with Werner Skuman, Sergei Sarkov, Bradley Surley, Jacques Sever, who is really putting the power down. Jean Jens van Rensburg, followed by Dimitri Pravadis, Christopher Simons, a little bit further down, Werner Kersop in 13th. Robert Bricknick will be looking to chase as they will be giving it everything it got. Drivers lined up, ready to go. Fabian Berwitz in 15th, Maurice Pitcher in 16th with Willem Buerta, Ruan de Toy, Werner Swart, Jaco van der Lith down in 20th as he's looking to try and get a little bit more of a run to the sharp end of the field. It's going to be a different race for our drivers to ensure that they stay up through the running order. Jaco van der Lith in 21st position, apologies. Robbie Teens in 22nd. Mario Rez, Nico Kellerman in 24th position. Going a bit further down, Stephen Cakebread, Fanny Crevenstein, Wellington Tron, Doug Herber, Willem Peanut, Noah Hendricks, and Etienne Swart rounding out our pack. We will be going to grid, ladies and gentlemen, for the absolute run. And in first place, Julian Familiaris will be looking to try and jump away from the field as quick as possible, not to get caught out. This is a standing start, though, so you got to pick the revs up, get ready with that clutch. No rolling, otherwise you will score a penalty. All lights on, and away we go racing. A bit of a slow pull-off for down at the back with likes of Van Rensburg, but it is Julian Familiaris first in the corner with Johan Fourie going right on behind him. Ryan Ottens slotting into 3rd place while Luc Lecchesi, oh, we got contact at the back of the field, and that is turning into a bit of a nightmare. I'm going to try and catch who that was. I think that might have been John van Rensburg. Yes, it is. And Steven Kutzer also got involved in that fight. So these two are going to have to try and power their way through. Van Rensburg will need a bit of repair on his car as he looks to try and make his way up through the order. Then on Kersop, challenging to try and get by. Sees Maurice right behind him and will look to try and gap it away from the BMW M2s at the moment as we jump on board with Maurice as they take the climb up the mountain, hard on the anchors, and the BMW's having a great run. Maurice feeling the pressure from Willem Buerta, going and putting the Enviro car out on the circuit. Old school colors for any of the South Africans that know. It's incredible to see the lots of fun drives coming in. Now, this is going to be an interesting time for our front pack to ensure that they can pull away quickly from the likes of our BMW M2s. At the moment, Luke Lucchesi putting the pressure on Ryan Otten's with Jan Krobler onto the back of him. Werner Skuman and Sergei Sarkov just trying to hang on the back at the moment, giving it everything he can, late on the anchors, twisting the car around through the forest elbow. And this is where the V8s are going to absolutely put on the power and start stomping away from our BMWs. As we do see, this is Christopher Summons, who's giving it everything he's got to try and get as close as possible to Dimitri Privadas. But we do have yellow flags. Veynon Kursop going and losing it in the mountain. And this is one of our BMWs. Dives up on the inside. Oh, that unfortunately lands up, affecting the likes of Willem Buerta. And that might have been Werner Swart. That was Ruben de Toy that got caught in that. And Veynon Kursop now limping the car back with quite a bit of damage on his car. So, I mean, this is just turning into a bit of a race for our drivers to ensure that they can keep going. It's going to be a lot of hard work here, ladies and gentlemen, for every single one of them. And at the moment, Christopher Simon is keeping onto the back of Dimitri Privadas. Will look to try and get on by. Luke Lucchesi is maintaining his run throughout and hoping to try and close up the gap as quick as possible to the front runners, and doesn't want to get caught out too much. So late on the anchors, trying to really power his way through. And Chris giving it old Dion Joubert's colours of BMW. And then the Enviro car, yep, that is it. Nice to see a bit of history coming back. And who says the likes of history is dead? Oh, a little bit of rubbing the ball there for Ryan Ottens. Luke Lucchesi is going to try and capitalise. Oh, he's lost a little bit of drive up the hill. And this is going to allow Jan Krobler to take a look on the inside, really putting the power down and doing everything he can to stay in for the fight. Gets the door closed on him, and you'll immediately have Werner Skuman putting the pressure on. Sergei Sarkov has now rejoined into the fight as they gently make their way down the hill, going into the Little Dipper, flying their way through, back on the gas, heading down to the forest elbow. It's all about late braking to get it done and dusted. And Krobler all over the back of Luke Lucchesi, while the likes of Ryan Otten starts to go and open up that gap a little bit more. A little bit further down, though, Willem Buerta in the race of his life. Now, he's got a bit of damage on that car as he chases down Werner Swart, but he has also got the likes of Bradley Surley right onto the back of him, trying everything he can with the Gen 3 Supercar. It's going to have lots of power down the back straight. Veynon Kursop feeling the pressure of Stefan Kutzer all over the back of him. Stefan gets it loose down into Forest Elbow, managing just to save it on the anchors, and will really have to power his way through. Jakob van der Lith going and keeping an eye on the battle, will maintain his drive, currently 5th in class, as they try and give it everything they got. So, I mean, incredible stuff for our drivers. So, as we take a look, Julian Familiar is still leading out the pack for our Gen 3 Supercars, and Robin Bricknick is leading out in 11th position overall, first in his class for the BMW M2 CSRs, and doing a fantastic job of just monitoring the situation, not pushing too hard, and just keeping up a positive amount of drive all the way through. So everyone really trying to step up their mark and see where they can go and how this race is all going to evolve as time goes on. It is anyone's game at this point. Back up to our front runners, as we do see Ryan Ottens lost the drive. Luke Lucchesi closed up on the back of him. Jan Krobler right there in the mix as well, hoping for an opportunity to get on by. Very close to the wall. Not ideal circumstances there, but Luke Lucchesi looking to put a lot of pressure on the youngster of Ryan Ottens. These two have got into blows many times in the past, but it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to develop, as tires will start to wear down on these cars. They can get a pit stop done during the race. It is a 45-minute sprint race with a pit stop. If you can try and save fuel, possibly you might be able to avoid the pit stop. Don't think it is possible though. So drivers will be looking at taking a new set of tires and not losing any bit of time possible. Robin making his way through, not too much of an issue. And there we've got the likes of Maurice Pitcher against Bradley Surley. Got a going to try and go back a little bit with Tim the cameraman and see if we can pick up on that big accident that came through, as we did have the likes of Doug Herber going and back to pits after having a bit of a problem. So let's take a look at what happened to Doug Herber for his yellow flags. Oh, he got caught in the mess heading down the main straight. Absolute disaster. This is down the Conrad straight that landed up with a monster impact, and I do think we had cars going off circuit and landing up, getting caught. So there's Vayner Kersop coming down the hill, and he landed up with a bit of side-on contact. Nothing too much to talk about there other than cars getting by. Bit of damage and frantic as cars are trying to move around. The BMWs just staying alive at this point to see how it goes. So Bradley Surley still keeping on the power, doing everything he can to make up some time. Nico Killerman going on the charge with Robbie Teens just ahead of him and looking to try and close onto the back and do everything he can to stay in for the mix here as he's following in tow. Robbie Teens done a fantastic job of maintaining his pace, and you can see out of the corners he's quite happy to start opening up the gap. Wellington Tron, on the other hand, is having a huge issue with the likes of Van Rensburg has now pulled away. Stephen Catebread going on the attack, trying to figure out any way possible to get on by, and you will see a little bit in the background Etienne Swart of the Altered Carbon Racing trying to make up some time as drivers are giving it everything they got. Van Rensburg utilizing the power. No nose, no rear wing, but he is going to try and drive it through, not to lose too much time. But there's going to be absolutely no grip on Van Rensburg's car. Something he's actually used to having no grip, coming from an oval racing background, as it tries to go around the outside of Doug Herber. And very close. Gets out of shape. Doug going and getting caught out, and will have to climb on the anchors instantly, allowing the cars to come through. Jan Ferree, though, is dropping down the order. So Ferree getting a little bit... Sorry, he's in second place and was dropping down the ladder. It all seems like there was just a bug in the system there. Luke Lucchesi on the back of Ryan Otten, still giving it everything he's got. Johan Krobler trying to put on the power, as we do see both cars sliding their cars out. Really battling to keep it going. Let's quickly take a look at our speed cam as they come rushing by out of turn 1. The big burly V8s screaming their guts down and really doing everything they can to keep up the power. Absolutely tremendous stuff to see the drivers fighting it out through all that can go on. But at current, we've still got some great racing ahead of us. Still plenty of time, as only 9 minutes and 20 seconds have happened. Ryan Ottens loses a drive. Luke Lucchesi gets a pass done and dusted through turn 3. And now turn 4 starts to open up that gap. So Ryan Ottens going to be running away. Jan Krobler onto his tail, though, as he tries to button things up, climbing up towards Skyline. This is where you got to believe the car's going to grip on you and really try your luck. A quick dab of the brakes. On, off. And really just doing everything he can to put the power down. I mean, this is going to be incredible racing, and it's all about getting late onto the anchors, try bring it back. Unfortunately, not close enough to do so. We are getting a bit of reports, though, with Vayner Kersop landing up with another yellow flag. Now, he's still got that damage on the front left after the earlier contact, and let's see, the car just snapping around him. Little touch into the wall, nothing too bad, but definitely one that's going to make you a little bit frustrated as he falls down. John van Rensburg getting past the likes of Werner Swart. Werner Swart in the BMW, running in 4th at the moment, as Luke Lucchesi will be trying to put the power down. So we do have Jean van Rensburg and the likes of Vayner Kersop still trying to find their climb back up through the order after a bit of a nightmare run for them. We do have a couple of cars off the lead lap, though, that will be going and getting caught out. So, taking a look at the running order, Julian Familiaris opening up the gap in 1st place with Johan Ferree, Luke Lucchesi, Ryan Ottens, and Johan Krobler running in 5th. Werner Skuman running in 6th with Sergei Sarkov, Jacques Eva, Dimitri Provadas, Christopher Simons, Bradley Surley, and Stefan Kutzer running in 12th. Van Kersop and Jean van Rensburg running 13th and 14th, respectively, in their class. Looking at our BMW M2s, which everyone is falling in love with. Robin Bricknick leading out the pack with Maurice Pitcher in 2nd place. Willem Buerta running in 3rd with Werner Swart, Jaco van der Lith, Robbie Teens, Nico Killerman, Fabian Burrett, Etienne Swart in 9th, Stephen Cakebread, Wellington Tron, Willem Pienaar, Noah Hendricks, Mario Rez a little bit further down and is trying to make up some time after a bit of a nightmare run. Ron DeTroy, Fani Kravenstein, and Doe Gerber just trying to bring himself back. As we do have reports of Christopher Simons, what has happened to the Pandassi Gen 3 Supercar Ford Mustang going around, and I think also having the rear kick out of the final corner, and exactly the same as his teammate Vanan Kersop landing up in a bit of a problem. So not ideal circumstances there for our drivers, having a little bit of a tough time out on circuit as they try and power their way through. So Julian Familiaris leads out the pack and really opening up that time, hoping to stay in it for a fight. Johan Ferry will run in 2nd place with Luke Lucchesi in 3rd, who's not quite breaking away from Ryan Ottens as much as he would like at this point. They're still sticking it out. The close battle happening out on circuit. Jaco van der Lith right onto the back of Werner Swart as they climb the mountain. And Willem Pienaar going and losing out a bit of time as he lets Van Kersop go on by. He's not going to fight with the big burly and will fight it another day. Stephen Cakebread getting the pass done on Willem Buerta. The Envirocar not going into the pits, and this is after it's had quite a bit of contact to the front nose and the door. We can see the scuffs as it comes on by. The driver will be battling with a bit of grip as they fight their way through. I mean, this is going to be a difficult drive for him, because he's going to have to figure out when is it all going to be the great stuff. As we jump on board, this is with Willem Buerta up towards Skyline, holding 4th gear, feathering the throttle through before applying the power through Skyline, and now it's the gentle descent down the mountain to ensure you don't get caught out. Taking a lot of curb though. That's not going to favor him too much, but it has got him onto the back of Stephen Cakebread, who was a little too ginger, and now it is all for the late on the anchors into Forest Elbow and back onto the power once again. Stephen Cakebread losing out that little bit of drive, and now the slipstream effect will come into play as they give it everything they got to power their way down the Conrad Straight, absolutely flat out. Is he going to look on the inside for the kink? It's possibly this. Going, not quite going to go for the kink. Oh, jumping it badly, actually. He goes and saves the car. 2 wheels in the air and is able to bring it back, but definitely took a deep breath in the Envirocar. That's actually the copy of Van der Linde's car of old, and then it landed up in the likes of Joubert's colours. So it's got the Van der Linde brothers, well, the Van der Linde dad on the side, which is always good. It's a tribute to the racing of old, and you still can see the Envirocar racing nowadays, which is always fantastic, as drivers will look to go and push themselves on. It's a bit of an unfortunate spot for Van Rensburg and the likes of Vaner Kersop that are stuck in the middle of the grid, and they're not able to move up to close up to the rest of the field. Jan Ferry getting the drive, Luke Lucchesi trying to close up the gap on him and doing everything possible. Remember, the championship is on the line and will be trying to go and give it everything they got. This is 45 minutes of racing, so who is going to battle their way through? 15 minutes completed, anything can happen, and you can be caught out big time through it all. And a little bit of history on the Van der Lindes. They actually did a lot of work on the engines for many of the drivers, Chris being one of them, going and sorting out the likes of the cylinder head, getting a bit of work there. And as far as I'm aware, the BMW has got a huge amount of run. That M3 can go like mad. Dimitri Provadas, though, going and having a bit of a tough time on the brakes in the Chip Ahoy colours. And once again, having another car getting turned round. Same sort of style where the back just gets a bit loose and drivers tend to lose that rear just a little bit too much and battle to catch it back on the way through. So definitely a tough time. Julian Familiaris, though, a multiple-time champion in the world of running in V8s. And he has really given it everything he's got, powering his way through, leading out the pack with a huge gap to second place, Jan Ferrari, as they make up a little bit of time. Honestly, some great stuff there. Luke Lucchesi running down in third. Ryan Otten's trying to make up some time as drivers are starting to get a little bit more open. They will need to figure it out. Battle for position, though, is going to be the likes of Robbie Teens, who has got Fabian Berwitz chasing him down. Now, Robbie Teens has got to be very careful here, as Fabian will give it everything he's got to try and close down the gap. In the sketches colors of the BMW, up against the DHL colors, who's going to send it up the mountain, as Fabian trying to go late on the anchors to bring his way back into the fight and back into contention of that fifth place. He's top five of Robin Bricknick, Maurice Pitcher, Werner Swart, Jaco van der Lith, and Robbie Teens. Looks like it's all going to change as Fabian looks around the inside, now going outside, climbing up the hill. Too wide is going to be rather difficult, but it looks like Fabian gets the drive through. Robbie Teens coming off the throttle, letting him go on by, and now will get pulled along. Did not want to get caught out in too much of a mess. Wants to ensure that he can keep the drive going all the way through. Van Rensburg, after a bit of repair work done to his car, trying to go around the outside of Stephen Cakebread, touching the wall, and he is on an absolute charge at this point to try and return from the back. He's in 13th in class and running 21st overall with so many BMWs that he has to get on by, and they will not be blue flagged. They are racing for overall track position, so he's just got to be that little bit more careful and trying everything he can not to get caught up in any messes nonetheless. Jan Ferrari has got Luke Lucchesi as they got caught out by the Castrol colors, and now Luke Lucchesi has an opportunity to go and march his way down the hill, really putting the power down, and we'll have the opportunity here to take second place. It's going to be close though. Luke gets a little bit unsteady under braking into the forest elbow, back onto the power early on. You can see going and touching the wall ever so slightly as they try and floor these cars down, doing everything they can, putting the immense amount of power on the way through. Remember, these cars don't have the fun paddle shifts of the new GT3s and that. You've got to really go and heel and toe down with the cars and battle your way through. They are an absolute tank. No traction control, no ABS. It is all down to driver skill as they absolutely floor it at this point. Jan Ferrari will have to keep a very defensive line. He looks around at the back of his car and realizing he's got a bit of an issue here with Luke Lucchesi doing everything he can to try and close up that gap as quick as possible. Drivers having to just try and figure out what's going to be the right idea, how they're going to move forward, and who will be able to stand on top. But Ferrari now punching a hole in the air and allowing Luke Lucchesi a little bit of a slipstream down the main straight before they get for the climb. Luke Lucchesi's going to look for the inside. He second-guessed it, knowing that there's a bit of traffic up ahead, as Stephen Cakebread is going to have second and third of our Gen 3 Supercars. Trying to get on by, as we do see that's Johan Krobler losing the rear, is parked up and now losing so many positions. He is in a compromising spot. Not ideal circumstances, waiting for an opportunity to get the car to turn around. It's just a big tank and is dropping down the order after having such a phenomenal effort. Unfortunately, this time round, not working out. Fabian giving the chase, trying to make his way through. Jaco van der Lith right in front of him as they head down the Conrad Straight. And it's all about putting the power down into the slipstream. They've got fantastic slipstreaming in these cars, and you really got to use it. It's very, very powerful as it goes side by side. And you can see instantly dives up on the inside, goes through the kink. He will be ahead of the likes of Jaco van der Lith, who's not going to fight him out in this one. He's going to rather wait it that little bit more. Robin Bricknick pulling into the pits, getting his pit stop done and dusted. That's going to allow Maurice Pitcher to move up forward and take the lead of the class as he tries to open up that gap a little bit more. Robin Bricknick will be keeping an eye on Werner Swart, who gets on by the Altered Carbon Racing BMW. Now going and absolutely stomping it through. And it looks like Robin going down the order. Nico Killerman also losing a bit of time with his pit stop. So drivers trying to just serve their mandatory pit stop, get it done and dusted. Willem Buerta going and bringing in the Van der Linde colours, and hopefully the Van der Linde luck here at the beautiful circuit of Bathurst has got Noah Hendricks running just ahead of him. And these two are giving it everything they got. Noah Hendricks is known for doing a splendid job, but yellow flags coming in for Luke Lucchese. What happened to Luke Lucchese? So Johan Krobler inside of Doe, and Luke Lucchese into the rear of Doe Gerber, and that landed up with both of them getting hurt. That is just seriously unfortunate. Doe Gerber trying to keep himself at bay and landed up with a bit of a problem, and now stuck out on the circuit trying to make his way through. And let's take a look. Yellow flags for Christopher Simons as well. Pandassi Gen 3 Supercar Ford Mustang not having a good time. Forrest Elbow, huge tank slapper. He catches it though. It would have been so brilliant if he caught the drift. It would have been fantastic. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. As we keep an eye on Noah Hendricks and Willem Buerta, they are fighting it out for 12th and 11th position, with Noah Hendricks now keeping very, very close. You can see how Willem Buerta utilizing the inside line to just try and guard it as much as possible, and causing the likes of Willem Buerta to just get a little bit more defensive. So not an easy time out there for Noah Hendricks at this point, as we do see Jean van Rensburg trying to open up the gap and really pull away from the likes of Werner Swart, who is second in class. And Van Rensburg is now chasing down the leader of our BMW class, Maurice Pitcher, who is on a ultimate drive at this point, going and trying to maintain a good bit of momentum all the way through. Van Rensburg needs to try and close up and get onto the back of his own grid, where Christopher Simons is running in 12th overall and running 12th in class. So there is just that little bit of hard work to do to make it work, as they bail away on. Jan Ferree pulling into the pit, serving his pit stop, and I think Luke Lucchese has done exactly the same, pulling into the pits. But that is one of our Pandassi cars pulling in the pits. Vaynard Kursop side by side. And that was a bit of a dive getting into the pits. Who will be in at first? Not to lose time here. Luke Lucchese hoping to try and take away the undercut, and after having that little bit of damage to his car, will be getting it repaired. Thankfully, the teams have lots and lots of spares that they can put onto these cars and get them back out and racing before they land up with a bit of a problem. Julian Familiaris, though, going and thinking, what does he need to do? 24 minutes into the race, he's got a 9.4 second gap to Ryan Ottens as he carves his way through a bit of traffic, trying to make his way up through Skyline. So Julian may have an opportunity here to get the pit stop done and dusted and back out on track before any issues. Willem Buerta trying to press on harder with Nico Kilman just ahead of him, and they've got one of the Gen 3 Supercars on the tail who will have the power to break away through. And you can see what happens. There is no replacement for displacement, and these 4 cylinders are now meeting the big brothers of the 8 cylinders, going and powering through. And those Gen 3 Supercars, compared to the M2s, are just going and showing off what they can do. But close racing between them all does make things rather interesting, and the power difference makes it rather interesting because you can utilize that to your advantage. Except climbing up the mountain is a little bit more difficult compared to what they had in the previous race, which was Daytona, where most of the supercars had to battle their way through the M2s, and having a little bit more of a run on the outside. Once you're climbing on the mountain here, you've only got 2 straights to get it done and dusted. Anywhere else is just risky, as Willem Buerta, the RDSA Esports, all over the back of Nico Killerman, who just wants to bail the way through. Apologies, inline 6, not an inline 4. Apologies, so it's an inline 6. Thanks for the correction on there. So it's 2 cylinders off the V8. That's not bad. Another 2 and they will be fine. BMW made a few V8s. You go back to the Z4 GT3, where it absolutely dominated with its V8, with its engine, with a V8, powering its way through, and always showing off some great stuff. Well, that being said, take a look through our order now that we are on 26, an S55 engine. Because that's what's in the car, an S55 engine in the M2s. Nico Killen around the outside, loses out a bit of time. Willem Buerta having a huge slipstream, pulls his way through and gets himself up into the 10th spot in class, 24th overall, and having a huge amount of fun. Still, Wynand Kersop needing to get out of the battle with the BMWs. Oh, that is Van Rensburg at the top of the hill. Let's go and quickly see what happened to Van Rensburg as he landed up in a big crash. And it looks like we're not able to pull that replay up, unfortunately. But landing up, having some monster damage to his car. That is not ideal, and is back into pits for the second time around in this race. Definitely going and getting caught out. M3 GTR also got a V8 and won the Nürburgring 24 Hour twice in a row. See, that's why. There's always a great place for V8s, and that's why I love these Gen 3 supercars. As Julian Familiaris going and pulling into the pits, going to be doing a bit of a refuel on the car, as he was running a little bit on the lower side. Like these drivers are just putting their fuel a little bit lower to ensure that they can keep on the gas and give it everything they got to ensure that they stay in for the top end of the fight. But Julian Familiaris will keep an eye on Ryan Artsens and Werner Skuman, as we do see Wynand Kersop trying to get on by, and he's holding the likes of, that is Jan Ferree, who is trying to make his way by. Stands on the gas, lost a bit of time there as he chases down Luc Lecchese at this point. Julian Familiaris still in pit lane, now in 4th, with Jacques Ever in likes of 6th place as Johan Krobler comes on by, really giving it everything he's got to chase him down. Jacques Ever, part of the Rhino Utility, and it's good to have Rhino Utility being part of the fun, and honestly glad to have them on board as one of our sponsors for the season, with some great enthusiasm. Wellington Tron, unfortunately, landing up in a bit of a problem. Let's quickly take a look, and this is our driver all the way out from Italy in the BMW M2. Oh, man, that is how you mount a curb with a BMW. Oh, and breaks the nose. Not a good run indeed there, but wow, that suspension kicked up quite a bit, and he became a passenger in his own car. Not having an easy time out there. Wynand Kersop running into an issue. Let's quickly go and take a look. Now, he was having a fine drive, and did he lose it going up the mountain? Very close onto the marbles. Oh, just braked on the marbles, locked it up, and bang, bang, bang. Like a pinball, he goes into the wall, losing out his drive for this race. Not ideal circumstances, nonetheless, and now the mountain starting to claim a few victims. Ryan Ottens has got a 2.9 second gap to former rival Werner Skuman. Now, in days gone past, on Assetto Corsa Competizione, Ryan Ottens, Werner Skuman, two names you would hear quite often getting into a great brawl with one another, but do respect the skill. Werner Skuman deciding he's going to box a bit early, as Ryan Ottens is still out on track. Sergei Sarkov going and battling all the way from Lithuania, going and having a great bit of time, coming across the borders. Great to see it, and also sporting the colors. Now, I have mentioned it in past of the Hermanos colors, the Los Polos Hermanos, the three ducks at a race in Evolution Racing Academy in Assetto Corsa Competizione. He is one of the cars, or one of the driver stables from the likes of iRacing. Always great to see some familiar team names making their way through. Julian Familiaris, part of Durant Motorsport, now trying to open up a little bit more of a gap to Luke Lucchesi. He has done his pit stop. Knowing that Sergey and Ryan Ottens have not done their pit stops means that's going to be a big run. Werner Skuman just coming out of the pits as Luke Lucchesi came on by, and will now need to keep going. So Werner Skuman will keep an eye on the likes of Johan Fourie as they battle their way down the back straight. Looks like all the cars have found their groove with no big interruptions here. All the drivers just keeping it together, having a phenomenal drive all through the battles, trying to maximize the points. And this is it where it's all settling down for the race. Bradley Surley, though, getting caught up. And let's quickly try and take a look. This is Bradley Surley of the Pandacity Esports, going late on to the anchors. Gets a little bit unstable. Oh, just has that rear step out underneath him. Under braking, not ideal circumstances. And dropping down, Dimitri Privadas also landing up with a bit of a problem. Let's take a quick look into the final corner again. This seems to be a commonality, and this is not the first time he's gone venturing. Oh, tank slapper locking the anchors, and he was able to get going. So, thankfully, saving the car and keeping it out of the wall, but definitely not an easy time, as you do see a lockup from the likes of Werner Skuman on that front left as he was braking hard into the forest elbow. And Johan Fourie will try and close up that little bit of a gap as quick as possible as we jump on board the right-hand drive of Johan Fourie, giving it everything he's got at this point, hoping that he can stay in for the fight. It's going to be a proper charge. Late on the anchors, swings it through as he does see one of the BMWs he's going to have to get on by, the DHL colours. And that is one of our top runners of our BMW M2s going and fighting it out. We'll suddenly have a face full of Gen 3 Supercar coming and rushing up on the inside and really gives it everything he's got. Werner Swart, unfortunately, landing up with a few issues, and Steven Kutzer landing up with a bit of a problem. The Team Slowpokes Racing, unfortunately, having a tough time out there. Sliding up the hill. Oh, just the rear stepped out. And that was all she wrote. Try to bring it back, but there just wasn't enough space. And bending that steering properly, having to get it towed back to pits. Hopefully they can get it back out and going once again. Remington Tron landing up in an issue once again. I mean, he has been fighting the Italian, catching the wall on the way up as he's been pushing to try and make up some time. Oh, darn. Just the rear snaps out. Tried powering out of it. Didn't quite work out for our Italian driver on the way through up the mountain. Suspension bouncing all over the show. These cars are fixed setup cars, so there is no modifying your setups to make it work for you. You've got to go and drive around the setup, drive around the car, and it is set up for each of the circuits, which is great. It's nice to have. Keeps you in line, and it does keep an open playing field for the drivers, as you've all got the same problem. Understeer, oversteer, you're going to have to deal with it all. Ryan Ottens into the pits, and Sergei Sarkov will be next in line. Will he dive into the pits? 34 minutes have gone by. He's going to try and take the top spot and open up a gap, as Ryan Ottens will lose it with Julian Familiaris inheriting second place, as he is only 4 seconds onto the back of Sergei Sarkov, and will ensure they can try and close up that gap as fast as possible through it all. A good battle going on is Etienne Swart and Werner Swart. These two are going to be fighting it out. A little bit of a slipstream between the two, and Etienne Swart looks up on the inside, late on the anchors. Werner dropping down the order as he just couldn't fight it out, and will have to just wait it out a little bit more, but it does look like Etienne got a little bit unstable. That's going to allow Werner once again get right onto the back of him and try and punch his way through. Etienne trying to keep it all together. Oh, Werner getting a tank slapper on the way up, and that's just because of the change in camber, and also how the track has got a little bit of an incline to it. As you get up on the power, everything's nice and light, and the rear starts to twist around you. Even though you haven't got the biggest of motors to deal with, you've still got quite a bit of weight that's getting thrown around. Yellow flags for Mario Russ, though, for the Team Slowpokes Racing. And what has gone on with him? This is heading up the mountain on the brakes and just has that rear step out. Oof. Hard impact into the wall and needing to get some repair work done to his car as well. So this has been a bit of a tough race for most, as we do see the likes of Robin Bricknick trying to break away. Maurice Pitcher now running in second place in the sketchy colours, will try and make up some time. Fabian Buwit is also on a bit of a climb to keep it up in third place. Jacob van der Lith will be getting past Robbie Teens, who's in the pits. And I do see Robbie Teens actually starting to trundle down, and we'll have Willem Buerta get on by. So the Enviro BMW will now stand ahead of Robbie Teens. Now Noah Hendricks has an opportunity in the slipstream. Robbie Teens will be down on power, got a bit of slow exit, and also has got ice cold tires, where the likes of Noah Hendricks has got plenty more grip, as those tires are absolutely warm as they go on the anchors, trying to bring it through. And our drivers just trying to push as hard as they can at this point. Noah Hendricks looks for the inside, backed out of it, going to keep in for the chase as they make their way up the mountain. They go. Robbie Teens doing everything he can to keep the power and ensure that those tires are getting up to temp as quick as possible. Noah Hendricks just keeping as close as he can, looks towards the inside, maybe to apply a little bit of pressure as they make their way through Skylines, going to keep it nice and sensible. But Robbie Teens loses a little bit of drive. Noah Hendricks side by side they go through Skyline, and both making it. My heavens, well done. Down the hill they go. Robbie Teens managing to just get his nose ahead of Noah Hendricks. But what a move for the likes of Noah Hendricks and Robbie Teens on that one. Very close. Skyline is very difficult to go side by side in any vehicle. And now you've got the BMW M2s. As much as they are wonderful vehicles to learn in and to drive, and also a bit difficult to master, they are one of the very few cars that if you want to go side by side, you do have that little bit more room, as these cars are considerably smaller than compared to the GT3 or even the supercar counterparts, as Noah Hendricks utilizes the slip now through the kink, gets ahead, as we do have one car off into the dirt, and that's Wellington Tron, who's gone and turned himself around. Drivers will take note of that yellow flag, not to get caught out, but it is all dirt lying all over the track. Noah Hendricks, middle of the circuit, trying to be a little bit more defensive, as he's got one of the supercars coming on by. He doesn't want to get caught up, as Dimitri Provadis will put the power down and run away as quick as he can. Robbie Teens was hoping to use that supercar to move up into the likes of 17th position, move himself into 6th in class. 39 minutes and 25 seconds done and dusted. 45-minute race, and it is all to play for quite a few of our drivers. Werner Swart and Etienne Swart still fighting it out, as they got Ryan Ottens diving up on the inside, and Ryan Otten's got to be very careful as he loses a little bit of drive. We'll have Luke Lucchesi going right onto the back of him, and Luke Lucchesi getting caught between the Swarts, 3 wide, and really gaps it through, and leaving the two Swarts to just fight it between themselves. Luke Lucchesi's on the hunt to try and get that second place back. 15 seconds away from both of these cars is Julian Familiaris, who made up some time with the pit stops. Now Luke Lucchesi has an opportunity to really get the power down and ensure he stays in for the fight. Hard on the brakes, trying down the gears. Second, brings it through. The tail's starting to lighten up. You can see a bit of counter steer being utilized to just get that car all into check, as he fires back at Ryan Ottens, who's just trying to keep it all sensible at this point, not having an easy time, and will be watching out for a very close fight. So great racing for these two as they fight it through. Jump on board with Werner Swart as he makes the climb. Still taking a look at Etienne Swart. These two have been going at each other left, right, and center. And yes, they may be very close. On the track, though, they are now formidable foes, each looking to score major points for their championships. And you can see how fast Werner came in onto Etienne, making his way down the hill, really trying to hunt it down, and just not able to score those positions just as yet. As they power their way through, absolutely giving it everything they got to fight it their way around. Johan Ferree onto the back of Werner Skuman as they power their way through. Werner Skuman just ahead in the orange supercar, the Ford Mustang against the Chevy of Johan Ferree. Great to see the two brands coming into a great fight. But it's our BMWs that are going to mind out the way, allow these two to go. And it's going to be through the kink, which is going to be difficult. You can see a slight touch of the brakes just to settle the car down and gets himself going. So Werner Skuman will be losing out that little bit of drive. And here comes Ferree, who closed up at a rate of knots, did not break through the kink. And he was able to carry a lot of momentum. He's got the outside line, not going to work. Skuman's going to keep it very defensive and gets on the power early on. These two not backing down from the fight will ensure that they can keep going as quick as possible. They do see Sergei Sarkov starting to make up a bit of time, getting past the Swarts, and will be trying to get onto this battle as soon as possible, with the likes of Johan Ferree still giving everything he's got to try and close up that chase as much as possible. And this is going to be a hard braking zone. Down into second gear. You can see how those nose on the car bottoms down onto the bump stops. Tries to get themselves all settled. The Chevy now looking around the outside with Ferree doing everything he can with the monster colors. But it's going to be the Sunny D of Werner Skuman of the Pandassi Esports powering his way through. Able to stay alive yet another lap through the mountain, sliding it around. Those tires taking a heavy beating at this point as all the drivers looking to one-up one another. But there is only 2 minutes left of this race, so it's all or nothing for our drivers to go and make up some time. And at the moment, Julian Familiaris leads the pack for our Gen 3 Supercars. Ryan Otten's in second, and Luke Lucchesi hot on his heels for third place. Moving on to our BMW M2s, it is the likes of Ron Brignick with Maurice Pitcher and Fabian Berwitt, who are running down in third place in class, having a great run all the way, hoping to try keep that little bit of momentum. But Julian Familiaris will be smiling ear to ear on this one as he gains a bit of time over his competitors. Ryan Ottens, though, loses the rear a little bit, brings it back, but what is that going to mean as Luke Lucchesi has an opportunity? He looks on the inside, late on the anchors, side by side they go, gently on the power, and both of them sliding the rears out, with Ryan Ottens being the first one to have in. Luke Lucchesi out of sympathy at this point, also gets it lost in the source, tries to bring it back, and wants to do everything he can to stay in for the fight. Absolutely tremendous stuff for our drivers. Sergei Sarkov will be onto the back of Ferree as they get held up behind one of the Team Slowpoke Racing BMWs, and that allows the likes of Werner Skuman to make on by. So Sergei, all the way from Lithuania, will be in the hot chase, closing down at a rate of knots against our local South African Johan Ferree, who has got a huge amount of experience of getting into these type of fights. Will continue on his charge. Jaco van der Lith also feeling the pressure from Willem Botha on a hot charge to try and take the position, as a top 4 is in the cards for Willem Botha. But Jaco van der Lith also wants to hold his time on in the hooligan colors, sliding his way through, really trying to put the power down. And Julian Familiaris going to come on by both of them, as he will be heading for the checkered flag. He's going to put his foot down, and he will get past the likes of Willem Botha, who tries to get into that slipstream, but the Gen 3 Supercars, huge amount of power underneath them, will start to open up the gap. Jaco van der Lith needing to go a little bit more defensive at this point to deal with Botha. This is a last gasp to the line, and Botha gets ahead. Can he hold it, though? He will need to hold it for 3 more corners. Botha will be coming across the line to take the position ahead of Jaco van der Lith, who's now lost that little bit of time. But Julian Familiaris takes the overall victory and the win in the Supercars. Gets the power down. Fantastic. Coming up to the line now is going to be the likes of Ryan Ottens in second place. He's kept Luke Lucchese at bay. And what a run between the two of them. Werner Skuman will be holding fourth at the moment. Sergei Sarkov gets ahead of Jan Ferree. And now will be claiming that fifth. Well, Ferree will be in sixth. Jan Krobler will come on by in seventh position. And has absolutely powered his way through. Jacques Ever going to be closing up in 8th. Bradley Surley out on track will get 9th. 10th, Dimitri Privadas with Christopher Simmons in 11th for the Supercars, in 11th overall. Steven Kutzer in 12th in class. 13th is Van Kersop, and John Jens van Rensburg getting 14th. Taking a look at our BMW M2 CSRs, and it's going to be Robin Bricknick taking the win ahead of Maurice Pritchard as they make their way down the straight, with Fabian Burwitt running in third place in class. Has done a phenomenal job to keep ahead. Willem Buerta is going to be smiling ear to ear on that fight as drivers making their way through. I mean, this has been an absolutely incredible run. And lots of questions of how come the South Africans are out of the top 3 in the BMWs? Well, gotta say, all the way from the Netherlands and all the way from the likes of Dutch and Fabian Burwitt as well getting across the line. So we have had an absolutely dominating effect by all our foreign competitors against the South Africans. I mean, that is an incredible, incredible run. But what a race our drivers have had, and what a race it has been here at the beautiful Mount Panorama. Bathurst going and really showing off. I mean, just phenomenal, phenomenal stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as we get to that, let's take a look back at our races and see how it all went, with some exciting action for our drivers, and look at our results going on the race. BMW M.2s, the M2s being the first one. Robin Bricknick leading out the pack with Maurice Pritchard and Fabian Burwitt in third. Willem Buerta in fourth. Jakob van der Lith ahead of Noah Hendricks. Robbie Teens, Nico Kellerman, Ruan de Toy, Werner Swart, Etienne Swart, Stephen Cakebread, Fanny Cravenstein, Willem Pienaar, Wellington Tron in 15th. Mario Rez and Doug Herber rounding out the pack of our BMWs. Moving on to our Supercars, though. It is going to be Julian Familiaris taking the overall victory ahead of Ryan Ottens, Luke Lucchese in third, with Werner Skuman, Sergei Sarkov, Johan Ferree, Johan Krobler, Jacques Ever, Bradley Surley, Dimitri Privadas in 10th. 11th is Christopher Simmons, along with Steven Kutzer, Van Kersop, and John Janssen van Rensburg rounding out the pack. I mean, some great, great racing indeed from all our drivers. And what an incredible, incredible race it was, folks. We got to see all the highs and lows in such a spectacular fashion, and seeing all the drivers really put their way to the test. We can see if we can try and get maybe an interview to try and chat to the drivers after a very, very difficult race through the mountain. I mean, it has been a absolute slugfest all the way through, and some great racing had by all. So while we wait to see if we can get one or two drivers, it doesn't look like we're going to be getting any interviews here tonight. But congratulations to our foreign competitors, Robin Bricknick, Maurice Pritchard, and Fabian Burwitt, being the first in Raceface history to be the first foreign competitors to take the 3 podium positions, and that is including across all the sims of Assetto Corsa Competizione and iRacing. Also, Le Mans Ultimate. We have yet to have a round out of all foreign competitors. So big shout out to them. Big well done to Julian Familiaris, Ryan Ottens, and Luke Lucchese, who fought it out here at the beautiful circuit of Mount Panorama. And we will be looking to have some fun. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's going to be a properly good racing for this week. Tomorrow night, we will be going racing at the Temple of Speed with the likes of our Assetto Corsa Competizione. 45 minutes of absolute absolute racing. Sprint races, no pit stops needed. And drivers looking to push their way to the line. Thursday night will be an hour and 20 minutes worth of racing with our set of course competizione. Both our Pro and Pro-Am broadcasted out on the track, which is going to be an incredible one. Don't miss out on Thursday night's action here at Raceface.Pro. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that bell notification icon. It has been an absolute pleasure coming out to you guys live here at Raceface.Pro at Mount Panorama. Now it's time to catch the flight and get to Monza. Big shout out to all our partners being with us here at Raceface.Pro. Our brand new partner, likes of Rhino Utility. Go take a look at them, folks. If you want to keep up with all your power needs and off-grid solutions, definitely Rhino Utility is your go-to. Big thank you to Red Star Raceway for being on board with us, and Scallywags Drifting Academy, constantly giving us those adrenaline-pumping action. So incredible stuff, folks. Big thank you to our drivers, our admin, and to the teams out there. But most importantly, a big shout out to you guys. Our virtual grandstands, keeping us all alive, seeing all the cheering. It's absolutely grand. And we will be bringing all the action to you live during the course of the evenings. And it is going to be a huge, huge run. If you want to come racing with us, go down to the description. You'll see the Simgrid link. Go and join in with the racing. Be part of all the fun here at Raceface.Pro and seeing all the fun that goes through. Join us out on our Discord. Also, go and take a look at us on Facebook. Leave us a comment. And also, we will see you in for the next race. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from myself, Stephen Koenig, and the entire THT production team of Tim the cameraman, Jim the marshal, we would like to say a big thank you to you guys. And like always, a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.